Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Um, Obviously, you know, birthing pains, just like season one, episode one was not ideal to what it was supposed to be. Technical difficulties. So here we are now with episode two, coming right back at you. Um, so without further ado, all right, episode two. Y'all know I'm great with these gimmicks. I'm great with I wouldn't say gimmicks. I would say my naming system is on point. So episode two is titled so adequately, because we're capping off Men's Mental Health Month. Um, Unfortunately, due to scheduling, I wasn't able to get something put together for Pride Month, but I don't think 1 month is enough to celebrate someone. Exactly how I feel about Black History Month. Black history is American history. Pride Month is, every day, because I don't think someone is LGBTQ or, whatever their pronouns are, 1 month out of the entire year. It's like, it's every day for them. They don't turn it off, just like I can't turn off my blackness. I'm a Black American, and I'm going to be that for the rest of my life and every day. But this episode, I really want to hit home, and I want to go a little bit deeper to what the struggle really is and why men's mental health is so dire. Okay. What does it mean? And I really want y'all to take a second, pause, deep breath in, exhale, even if you're the opposite sex. What does it mean to be a man? Now, scientifically, I can tell you all day. When I wake up in the morning, I already can tell you what it means to be a man. Like, go to the bathroom. Like, I know down to the textbook what it would mean, to be a man. And this ain't no misdirection or a gotcha moment. Like, I'm asking because whatever your answer is what many men in the United States, and I'm pretty sure even around the world, battle with every day, of societal acceptance, of social acceptance, of what it means to be a man. Okay. Like, every day, men around the world, especially here in the United States, get checked that they're not being manly enough, like they're not being man enough, like they're not doing enough to necessarily, how do I put this, provide, really, to adhere to what society expects, to live up to those expectations, and, to show not just the younger generation, but those around them in abundance, what it means to be a man. And if you break that down, so simple shit. Let's go with simple shit. Opening a jar. If I can't open a jar, okay, and I gotta pass that jar off to someone else, be it a child, be it a woman, and they open that jar where I failed and I could not, does it make me less of a man for not physically being able to open that jar? If so, let's dive into it. Physicality. So to be a man, do I need to possess the physical attributes of what I, like I say, what, not even what I, but what society would say, you know, I need to be, or where I need to be considered a man? So do I need to be physically intimidating? Big broad shoulders, you know, big buff arms, you know, neck so thick that I can't even, you know, fit in normal clothes. I have to get specially made clothes. You know, just muscles and vascularity popping out of everywhere, and just when you look at me, you see like a Greek god. You know, does that make me more of a man? You know, I can rip a phone book in half. I gotta be, you know, super strong, superhuman. That, you know, am I a man if I achieve that build? Is that part of the criteria? Is that only one step in the circus that it would take, you know, to make me a man? Okay. What, you know, does that cap off? Am I a man if I look like that, or am I not? Put a pin in it. No answer all at once. Then you gotta go. Let's go a step further. Let's go to ingenuity and know-how. Like, many a times, do we be expected, you know, to build things, or to just have the knowledge of knowing how to build things? Our entertainment system, let's take that for example. I fucked up on that thing like 3 or 4 times. I had to take it apart, put it back together again. And I had instructions, and I read them. You know, I read where A meets B and C, and then you gotta hook that to 1, and then you gotta hook A and B and C to 2, and you know, all these shits. I did it all. I read it all. Okay, I did it all, and still somehow managed to put some shit on backwards. But then I took it apart, because, you know, knowing where you fuck up and knowing how to fix it, I guess that's part of being a man too. At least for me it is. You know, if you fuck up, own that, acknowledge that, you know, and be willing to look yourself in the mirror and improve where you fucked up, versus regress and repress and be like, well, I didn't fuck up. That's somebody else's fault. That's somebody else's problem. That's just not a man thing. That's an everybody thing. Children do that shit. Women do that shit. So that doesn't make you a man not owning your shit. Owning your shit though, accountability. I'm sorry, women, but that is a male trait. That is something that men do. You know, be it taking a week, a day, a year. Men take accountability. We do. We own that shit. We got to, especially when it's just right in our face. We have to take that. So there you go with that. So then, moving beyond that, okay? Moving beyond accountability, right? Back to where I was, you know, respected to know how to build things, right? How to be handy savvy, so to speak. But I put the, you know, entertainment system together. I was able to do that. I was able to make that happen. And it's still standing today. It's got our, you know, it's got our 70-inch TV on there. We're doing good. Okay. It's got all the little pictures and all the little, you know, knickknacks, and it's got my PlayStation 5, my Nintendo Switch 2. We're straight. You know, it stood up. It didn't fall apart. It ain't shaky. You know, we've moved it around the living room a few times actually. So I think that I did a good job on that. Does that make me a man? Personally, I don't think it does. Like, it's just I happen to read instructions for the most part to get me started, and everything else is common sense on where pieces fit, you know, to make an entertainment system look like the picture. And I think I did a pretty decent job at that. So that doesn't make me a man, you know. That just makes me know how to read. And I think man, woman, or child can know how to read. And then women, they expect us to not just be able to build stuff, they expect us to be able to know how to fix stuff. So I'll be the first, and anybody that knows me know I tell them ASAP Rocky. I don't know shit about cars. I know enough about cars to be dangerous. I know enough about cars that ain't nobody finna tell me some shit and make it sound nice and me go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. And I have enough friends that are, you know, automotive savvy that they can tell me very quickly that, hey, that shit don't sound right. They trying to fuck you over. So for all you know, intents and purpose, for me not knowing about cars, I'm like I say, I know enough to be dangerous. But if something happened, I don't know how to fix it. You know, I don't know how to put something together. I don't know how to make it work. You know, brakes. You know, I changed brakes once years ago. I know how to do an oil change, spark plug, simple shit. You know, I know how to do that. But as far as all this other stuff goes, like, I don't know, man. Like, I try, but I don't. I lean on, you know, the understanding of more intelligent people, you know, to make that happen. So, and when I say more intelligent, I mean they actually study this shit, or they know exactly what the fuck they're doing to, you know, put that together and make that happen. So that's me when it comes to cars. So if that's one of the boxes I gotta check to be a man, I don't make it. I don't make that count, you know. Take a quick minute, word to our sponsors. Hi everybody, Frank Farmer, just taking a short little break. We're gonna get right back to our regular programming in 1 minute, don't worry. Once again, back, just gonna try these out. 10 grams protein per serving, Wagyu brisket from Carnivore Snacks. Like I say, while I'm cutting and I'm trying to tone up and get everything right to be back in action. This is a nice healthy alternative to chips or a whole lot of carbs. Let's check out the marbling on this stuff, though. Let's see what we got. One whole piece. Translucent. Very good marbled. Alternative to jerky. Delicious. 2 ingredients. Beef, salt. That's it. You just cured beef. A5 Wagyu. Shit's delicious. Go check out carnivoresnacks.com. Tell them Frank sent you. If you guys are trying to, you know, cut back on snacks and stuff, I seriously suggest trying Carnivore Snacks. They've got tons of different flavors. Well worth it. It's just try it. It's really great. I think it's great, but yeah, don't take my word for it. Look online, check out the website. You know, tell them Frank sent you. And there you go. Now back to what I was saying though. Yeah, I don't know how to fix a car. I know how to change a tire, but I can't fix a car. Can't even rig a car to get, you know, to the next town. I can pay for a tow truck though. You know, I know my strengths. I know what I play to and what I don't. Then, okay, uh, again, we a lot of that's crazy. A lot of check boxes of what society tells us a man should be play to physicalities. So then, let's say that I gotta carry some shit. Okay, I gotta lift some shit and carry some shit. Um, True story. Okay, I'm out of shape now, but me at my mid shape, I flipped the 300 and something pound tire, monster truck tire, all the way from like I'll say for about three and a half blocks, all the way back to my house. So true story, can't make the shit up. And it's in my backyard right now today. I might even do an episode out there on my monster truck tire. But I flipped it all the way back to my house now. Strength wise, I've declined. Um, I'm not full decline, but I've declined, so I can definitely improve. Now about everything else, man, like I'm expected to carry 2x4s or do heavy labor and shit. I'm able to do it, but a lot of people ain't. You know, and that's the point. Like a lot of men can't, but that don't make them any less manly. You know, that don't make them any less men. But they're battling with these demons of society. It tells them that they're not. That they're more akin to a woman if they can't, you know, have the physical strength or know-how to lift these things and maneuver these things physically. Then they're not good enough. They're not a man, which I think is bullshit. Again, that's just my opinion. Then uh, fixing shit just in general around the house. This is a recent one for me. Our fridge was messing up and acting up, so I went online. I looked up what a lot of the symptoms could be, and I figured out that the little light switch in the freezer portion of it controls not only the freezer light, but it also controls our ice maker. And so if you got a Whirlpool freezer fridge combo, you're welcome. If the light switch is out, you need to get a new light switch and try that. And if changing that out doesn't work, then it's probably the wires have been split or broken. I'm not a subject matter expert. I just know what I read and I know what worked for me. Make sure you unplug it before you try any of this for your own safety. But yeah, man, I had to research that. I had to figure that out. I had to look into that. And, you know, my wife really didn't expect me to fix it. She was just more along the lines of, okay, if you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't. We'll figure it out. It's gotten to that point. It's gotten to that point where my wife looks at me as a leader, where she trusts what I go off of. If I panic, she panics. If I don't panic, she don't. Like, she's just like, okay, well, he's gonna take care of it. Because I built up and earned that credit. For me, that's what being a man, is like you lead. You know, when you have a family, it is on you to lead. That doesn't mean there's any less pressure, but it is on the man to lead his family and to be the head of household. Now, that doesn't demote my wife. That doesn't not make her a partner and have equal say. There's a lot of shit goes on with pertaining to the kids and going on about the house that I'm not clued in on. But when it's brought to me, guess what? It's agreed upon and it's accepted. Because that doesn't mean that I don't have a voice, but that's just what it really is what it comes down to. And then it's the big one. Being a single hetero male, especially, and I do mean especially here in America, like your whole mindset is based upon getting money at the end of the day. Because first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get you fill in the blanks on that. But it's based on getting money because that's what society, the constructs of society has thrusted upon us and put upon us that we have to have a certain number in our bank account to even allow the opposite sex to look at us, to want to talk to us, to want to engage with us. Um, Provider. That's the other aspect of being a man. Um, Full financial provider. This day and age is social economy. It's harder to do than it ever has been, and I'm gonna tell you right now why. Because if you're going to be the man, the man that society says you should be, you've got to be able to take care of a mortgage. You got to be able to buy a house. You got to be able to own a house. You got to be able to pay for the insurance. You got to pay land taxes. You got to buy cars. You got to own cars. You got to be able to pay for the car insurance. You got to have health insurance. You got to have, if you and your significant other have children, you got to have all your children taken care of. You got to be able to pay for all of this stuff. Love ain't free. You got to be able to put groceries in the house. You got to be able to make sure that food is in abundance. A lot. And pause right there when y'all finna get on my case. But facts, a lot of females ain't cooking these days. So as a male and a provider, you might even need to know how to cook. You might even need to know how to cook. And we ain't saying just for you. We ain't saying just for you and your lady. We saying just, for everybody so the family can eat. You might need to know how to cook. Grill at best. You need to know how to grill. And then, with that, you got to have enough money that if y'all ain't cooking, y'all still have to eat. So you got to be able to go out to restaurants. And some of these women, I'm not saying all, but some of these women got Gucci taste. It's got to be 4-star and higher. Some of them even won't settle for 4 stars. So as a man, you have to be making at least 6 figures. That's the going thing right now. That's not no red pill talk, blue pill, fuck a pill. That is what it is. That is, if you take and dip your toe into any lake, that is the response that's going to come back. Is like, you got to at least be making 6 figures. They got to be able to fly out. They got to be able to take a vacation when they want to. And if, like I said, y'all got a family, the whole family's got to be able to take a vacation when they want and need to. These are the constructs that men are playing with. Okay? And then the job. Okay? Whether it's hard labor, whether it's suit and tie, whether you're at a desk, whether you're at, you're working with heavy equipment, whether, you're working corrections, whether you're a cop, fireman, whatever it is, whether you're a server, whether you're a bartender or a barista, anybody, your manhood is called into play if you complain about work. It ain't if you complain, it's who you complain to. You've got to be very specific in your complaints. So if you complain to your coworker, who is also a male, about work, you straight, you cool, because 9 out of 10, me too. That's what you're gonna hear. But if you go home and you take that shit home and you complain to your wife about work, let's say they don't work, because like again, we're talking about today's day and age. But if your wife don't work and she's at home, she's not going to identify, she's not going to connect to it, because her whole life begins and exists at home. So 1, she doesn't understand. 2, if you go home complaining to her about that, you're going to be emasculated in her eyes, because she's going to just see it as you're whining. Why are you whining? Stop whining. You're too sensitive. You're giving off feminine energy. It ain't very giving, because you're not being a man, and you're not supposed to be, crying and bitching and moaning, because the double-edged sword is, in today's day and age, women expect men to open up and not be closed off and not contain their feelings and not hold it in, but women also expect men to not overshare and share too much and be a floodgate and just bitch and moan about every little thing and inconvenience that they get. As a man, you're not supposed to quote unquote cry. You know, you ain't supposed to fucking vent and fucking tell them about your fears and frustrations and shit. That's not what you're supposed to do. But as men, we do it. You know, we do it every now and then, and it takes it a little step back because now whatever attracted them to you before, whatever instinct or intellectual, whatever they had going for it, that shit drying up now because now they're just like, well, he ain't the man I thought he was. Now eyes are wondering, and I ain't saying they'll ever act, but now eyes are wondering, and they're just thinking to themselves, like, damn, you know, why can't he be so more like so and so? And once that shit happens, I'm telling you right now, it is up because now you're being compared. And not only do you have to live with you feeling inadequate, but you got to live with the embodiment of what they think someone is adequately, you know, equipped for, like they're built for. Like you're not man enough, but so and so is. And it's just like, damn, that's how you feel. Now I got to live with that. And I ain't saying that's the case for everybody. I'm not. I'm just saying it happens. It happens. So let's tap back into physicality for half a second. No two men are built the same. Some of us are taller, some of us are shorter, some of us are mid, you know, some of us are heavy set, some of us are medium, average, some of us are shredded, some of us are fat. We all have different body builds, but you know, physically what's a pleasing and, you know, acceptable to a woman, it'd be wild. It'd be wild. A lot of women will say that a lot. A lot. I ain't saying all. I'm saying a lot of women will say that they're very secure in themselves and everything is straight. Peep though, y'all watching a TV show, y'all watching a movie, y'all watching whatever. They're not giving a fuck about what's going on in your mental, your psyche, your heart, your mind. But they see a dude taking his shirt off, doing a, you know, intimate scene or whatever it is, and you know they let off a exclamation, be it a ooh or you know, whatever, you know, a nod of approval. That's what they're into and stuff. But then every day they try to tell you that you're perfect for them, but they're getting hot and bothered by seeing this celebrity crush or whoever it is, you know, take off their shirt, or you know, if they on that 365 tip, you know, that's our ideal man. So again, you know, this the crazy shit, but they ain't paying attention to how that just made you feel, or the shit that you got to deal with, the self-image and whatever you got to deal with, because you like, damn, hypothetically, I'm 4'3", I can't never compete with that nigga at least 6'3", 6'4". So I can't compete with that. So how am I supposed to live up to that if that's what she's into? I might as well cut my losses right now. You know, but whatever, you handle it in strides because a man's not supposed to show his emotions. So you take it for what it is. Same in turn, though. All's fair, or at least it's supposed to be. Don't let you, you know, you see female in an intimate scene and you feeling some type of way, and you're like, or you let off inflammation. Now you gotta deal with stress because now you can't be trusted because you found another female attractive on a movie or a TV show that you'll probably never in your life meet, you know, and if you do, it's a one-off. Like you'll never see this person ever again in your life. It's in passing. It's at a airport. It's at somewhere you just happen to meet this person. So yeah, like, but then you're a devil. You're a whole devil for that. Like, and then the other side of stress starts. But I bring all this to the table. Okay. We're talking finances. Okay. We're talking everything, you know, finances. We're talking physicality. We're talking ingenuity and know how. We're talking, you know, you being able to fix a car, fix up the house, do things, put shit together, all of this shit, right? And on top of that, be a good dad if you're a dad. Be a good husband if you're a husband, a good fiance, a good boyfriend, a good lover, whatever your title is. Be all that good stuff. Be everything to everybody all at once and be nothing to yourself. And God forbid that you want to take a minute to breathe or some time for yourself. They finna bring up 2 or 3 weeks ago. They might bring up yesterday. And so what if it was fucking yesterday? They finna bring all this shit up to be like, well, you were just off yesterday, you just did this yesterday, or you just, it's it's taxing. But they'll bring up any time that you've had downtime, like it was enough, like you just needed just that little bit of downtime, and you don't need shit else. So I don't understand. That's just me. And if you need any more than that, you're not man. You're not man enough. You know. So for me, to be a man means coming to grips with the things that you can affect in the world around you, and knowing the limits of the things that you can't, and accepting them. Just that simple. I mean, there are so many men out there that are mentally and emotionally fucked up because they've been to war, they've been traumatized, be it working in the prison system, being in the prison system, growing up in a urban area that wasn't the nicest. They were on some real hard time grind shit, and it's not that they chose that. They didn't really get the choice over where they grew up in poverty. Be it they on the side of law enforcement and they've been in some real bad spots. Be it, they've been damaged as children, and they grow up into men and they can't, regulate. They try as best they can, but they can't necessarily regulate. Be it any of these causes, right? And you got people that slip through the crack. I've known people that have been caught in time, thank God, but they've drawn out full plans on how to self-delete. I know people that have self-deleted, males that have self-deleted, and nobody's seen it coming. Happy smiles, just good people all the way through and doing their best, and then in the end, all the demons and all the voices got a little too loud. So again, with that being said, I don't personally think that being a man is necessarily what societal constructs puts on you. I think being a man is being healthy, both mentally, both emotionally, and spiritually within yourself. I think being a man is waking up every day and being able to look yourself in the mirror and acknowledge that you are good enough for you. I think being a man is looking yourself every night in the mirror and acknowledging that you've done everything you can in that day to make the best of that day. So, like I said, in the end, you have to be the best version of you can be. And I don't think anybody has a right to put a title or to judge or condemn or to, share in their opinion realistically over what it means a man should be until they've walked, a mile in your shoes. So if anybody's willing to dress up, go spend a day in a day of, Frank or whomever, or John or Bill or Don or Dave or anybody, they want to go be a man and be in their shoes for a good week and live their life, deal with their family, deal with the expectations of their life. If they, got a family, if they don't, just deal with the expectations of going out, being a red-blooded male that, You know, it happens to be hetero, you know. Like, do, you know, live like that. Live like that for just a week. And then if you can live life on easy mode and everything's great for you and life is cool, by all means, judge. Let that person know that they being a bitch. Let that person know that they're not doing enough. They're not being man enough. Yeah, you know, if you can accomplish everything they set out to accomplish and more, yeah, then please let them know. Maybe they are doing it wrong. But I guarantee you, what you'll come to find is, wow, these men have like an extraordinary lives, and it's not just the fact that they don't have any outlets or anybody to lean on. Um, some of the explosions are warranted. Like, you got some of these videos out here that characterize dudes of being crazy or insane when they finally, the cork finally pops and they snap. It's because they got all this shit pent up, bro. You'll never know what's going through a man. You'll never know. The last 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, when I lost my mother, were the worst. Because I had to watch her deteriorate in front of me, and I still had to work. I think at the time I was working. Let's see, when did I leave? So, check. I was working at the prison. So, I was working at a prison 2020 when my mother's health took a nosedive. And then I ended up working at a mental facility, you know, after that. So, crazy enough, y'all, my mental faculties weren't the greatest. You know, they were good. I was in control. I was disciplined, but like, my shit wasn't straight, bro, because I'm focused on my mom. I need to know if she's going to make it, if she's going to be all right. She's old. She had cancer, so she's fighting that. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know, she's a fighter. She's going to make it through. I'm being very delusional. And people still came at me, and they still had something to say. Not knowing what the fuck I got going on, but they still had, you know, their judgments and their opinions. And then my wife, she would be full throttle on the gas about things that I need to get taken care of and get done. But, you know, by the grace of God, she would always ease off and put on the brakes, because she'll think, like, be it a look or be it whatever, a feeling, vibe, she'll be like, damn, never mind, you know, I got it, you know, I'll don't worry about it, I'll handle it. And it's a little shit like that that makes a big difference, because you never know when a motherfucker is at their last little thread, and that can go either way. It's either gonna implode inward, or it's gonna explode in a big fucking way outward. And not saying either of those are valid choices or good choices, but if it goes outward, just know that whatever happened on some way, shape, or form, it's been earned. I ain't necessarily saying about an individual that gets taken out on, but it's just been earned. It's been building up. It's been coming to a head. It's been earned. Trust me. You know, I really don't have too much more to say on the subject. It's just that, like, besides, unless you're gonna go by the textbook definition of what a male or a man is, it's not a social construct of what a man is. Like, it is being a man. Is doing what a man needs to do, and being brave. And bravery comes in different ways, shapes, and form. You don't always have to be able to fight or to be able to. It's a good thing to be able to defend yourself and your family, but you ain't got to be able to do that. You know, being brave, bravery. Being brave also means, like, just standing up and taking a stand, even if you can't win. Standing up, taking a stand, and being there not only for your people but for yourself and your morals and your goals, and letting it be known that, you know, letting it be known that you're heard and that you exist and that you need to be seen as well. voicing your emotions, your opinions, and what it means to you when somebody upsets you or hurts your feelings is not being less of a man, okay? At all. So, have the strength, have the courage to move forward, have the fortitude to accept what it is you can change in your world. You know, do everything within your power to change the things that are in your ability to do so. And have the wisdom and the patience and the discernment to know the difference. You know, because you only get one go round in this world. Ain't no resets, ain't no continuations, just one. So being a man basically means whatever it means to you to be a man. Don't let this world tear you down. If you're putting in effort, honest effort, you wake up every day and you try, you make a difference in at least just one person's life that you give a damn about. To me, you're a man. Sorry for leaving it heavy, but it's episode 2. I'm trying to get the schedule worked out and get more things lined up, and hopefully all the chips fall where they need to for episode 3. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate all of the support that I've been given so far, and I hope that we can continue to keep this thing going. Tap in with me, like, follow, subscribe, share. Let's get this out there. Season 2. I tell you what.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy.